What is up, and welcome back to the channel. We are your Colorado real estate family. Alright, so we've experienced that Northern Colorado is becoming a popular spot to move when relocating into Colorado. Today we're going to dive into one of those cities, line item by line item, the true cost of living in Greeley.
Alright, let's go. If you're new to our channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're interested in moving to Colorado, Denver, or any of the surrounding cities, we're the people that you need to know. So do yourself a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification down below. We put out a couple videos a week and we want you to be notified every single time.
Yeah guys, like always, we like to be your boots on the ground experts, because if you're planning on moving into Colorado, listen, we bring you all that information that you need to know. We're talking about cost of living, activities, all those different things that you really would like to know. Also, licensed real estate agent here, helping you out with all your real estate needs. We love helping you out. We have been on a constant basis and it's been amazing. We love it so much. All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the true cost of living in Greeley, Colorado, line item by line item. If this is your first time watching one of our cost of living videos, what we like to do is base it off of a point system. And what we look at is like bestplaces.com or one of those sites where 100 is your national average, right? So you have your national average right here. And then if it's above that, obviously it's more expensive. If it's below, it's cheaper. And so first thing, we're going to group it all together. If we talk about Greeley, Colorado as a whole, all these costs that we're breaking down, it's a 105.1 as a whole.
Okay, so let's dive into grocery. So grocery on a scale for the national average being 100, Greeley falls at 98, which if you follow any of our other cost of living videos, what you'll see is a lot of the other cities are around 100 or just 100 point something. So it's still, even just being a couple points down, it's still relatively more cheaper than some of the surrounding cities. But Greeley is not so small that you don't have, you know, like your Walmart and your King Soopers.
And just so you know, like the King Soopers is our Kroger here in Colorado. So it's like, oh, what the hell is King Soopers? If you've never been in Colorado, that's what it is. It's our Kroger stores.
Yeah, and so, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, Greeley, like, isn't it small in Greeley? Well, no, not necessarily. You still have all of the, you know, regular corporate stores and any of the franchise things, so it keeps the groceries relatively cheap.
And I'm trying to think, have we ever ran into a grocery that's higher than 100 here in Colorado?
100 point something, but
yeah,
not
above
typically.
National average, I guess. It was like barely above. Maybe it was Boulder. Or
I think Evergreen, or anything in the mountains that you had to drive a little further, or they might have had a little bit more local things instead of the corporate stores. I think that's when you start to see those groceries climbing.
I never know what to do with my hands when we're sitting at a table. I feel like I might block my face.
Sometimes he gets going and he's like, bam, bam, and I'm like, whoa, honey.
With what was going on, and at the end of the day, you know, you got to be happy.
Yeah, or we stop panicking. It's not a good thing.
Okay, so let's go into health. So health is a 99.1.
Yep.
We've talked about this a lot in a lot of our cost of living videos, that we actually have very affordable healthcare here because we have a lot of options, which keeps it more affordable. So same with Greeley, it's big enough. It's that a lot of, you know, you have still a lot of great healthcare options. Worst case scenario, if you want to get in some of the larger systems, you can also go over to Fort Collins, which is a short drive away. So definitely still relatively cheap and below national average here in Colorado and in Greeley specifically.
Yes, it's always great knowing that you're going to be somewhere where your healthcare is so much cheaper as compared to the national average. I'm not saying like so much, but it's definitely better than being higher than your national average, right? And so if anyone has experience in like the systems that are here in Colorado, it's definitely Chelsea. She has a medical background, nurse, and been in all the hospital systems doing things here and there, and yeah, so very cool. All right, cool. I guess we're gonna go on to housing, and this is one that you guys really this is one that you really wanted. Now, when we go into this point system, I really want to put it out there that not only are we talking about the cost of housing or of purchasing real estate in Greeley, Colorado, it's also about your rentals. Like, what are you going to be paying for rent and stuff? So the point system, when we're talking about housing, is a 127.5. So it's definitely higher than your national average, like the majority of Colorado. Unless you go like super far south, you're really not going to get anything below that national average here in Colorado right now, just because we've went up so much more in these last couple years. I wouldn't doubt it if like probably 10 years ago that number was probably below 100, but
yeah,
I mean with Colorado becoming as popular as it has, it's definitely increased the prices of our houses, and then also the rents that we're kind of looking at as well too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people too, we've talked about Greeley. If you haven't checked out some of our other Greeley videos, go check them out. But we have talked about, you know, jobs in Greeley being kind of specific. A lot of people will still even commute over into Fort Collins, and it's, you know, buy a cheaper house in Greeley and then commute over to Fort Collins. So what about comparables when you're looking at houses from the other surrounding cities?
All right, well, so first let's break into the numbers. So like, and what I've been doing, because usually what I've done in the past is I've grouped it all together. Just if you're looking at purchasing real estate in Greeley, Colorado, this is the number you're looking at. Well, we decided, and we've gotten feedback from you guys. Sorry, this wind is like blowing us all over right now. Is that we want to break it down into multifamily and then also single family, because it just all depends on what kind of housing that you're planning on purchasing in Greeley. And so if we're looking at multifamily, which includes your townhouses and your condos, you're looking at a median sales price of $322. So it's good to know that, you know, it's not too bad as compared to the rest of this Denver metro area that we usually talk about. It is a little bit on the lower scale. If you're looking at a single family house in Greeley, Colorado, you're looking at $454. Sorry, mixing up my numbers there, getting a little dyslexic. So yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, still that's so much cheaper. And just
So
like
much
Chelsea had mentioned, like, let's compare it to a few of these other cities. So I guess the first one that we're really going to compare it to is Fort Collins, Colorado. And I'm just going to put this like grouped all together. You're looking at a median sales price in Fort Collins of $573, and so that just shows you how much lower Greeley, Colorado is. Even if we put those two numbers together, it's still going to be a lot lower. And so that's something to really look at. Let's look at another city. How about like Loveland, Colorado? You're looking at a median sales price of $505. So still Greeley, Colorado is a lot cheaper. Some of that is also attributed to the fact that it's not as close to the mountains as these other cities are. But Greeley is still one of those small town kind of, you know, feels that a lot of people love, and that that's why it's becoming so popular for people to move here when they're relocating into Colorado.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, that the closer to the mountains you are, you start to see the prices increase. And so, you know, obviously Greeley's on the east side of I-25. I-25 is that highway that goes, you know, from Denver north up to Fort Collins. And so Greeley's about 30 minutes away from Fort Collins. So like I was talking about before, people will buy a cheaper house in Greeley and make the commute. You know, people are driving, even if you're looking at Denver, people drive, you know, 30 minutes every day to get to Denver for the commute. And they do the same thing up here for Fort Collins. So it does allow a lot of flexibility. It gives you a little bit more bang for your buck. The other thing too is, you know, Greeley is home to UNC, University of Northern Colorado, and so you do start to see a little bit more college type or like the condos and things like
student
that
housing,
too. Student housing. Same like Fort Collins. So very similar because they're both college towns, so that does affect the pricing a little bit.
Well, and I will throw this out there too, just coming from my personal opinion. If you're planning on getting to a city that that really hasn't hit that spike yet in the real estate, because I mean Loveland is definitely getting up there with Fort Collins, where before there was a huge difference between Fort Collins and Loveland because everyone was moving to Fort Collins. Greeley, if you want to get in somewhere where you're going to have some huge equity gains, I'd highly recommend going into Greeley. Yes, it might not be as close to the mountains as you want to be, but I mean if it's something where it's like you want to purchase a house and then have those huge equity gains over the next 5 years, Greeley is definitely a huge opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go into the next category, which is going to be utilities.
Yep.
So utilities sits at 99.4, so pretty on par with, you know, national average.
Yep.
Utilities includes what?
So it includes your natural gas, your electricity, propane. So some of these houses are ran off. They have like a huge storage tank outside, and so they run off propane as well too. Any of your internet costs, you know, all those kind of lumped in together. And something like that we've experienced since we do invest out of state is there's a lot of these houses whose furnaces and hot water heaters are only on electric. Well, not here in Colorado. Typically what we see is you have your HVAC system and even your hot water heaters running off your gas, and then other stuff like, you know, maybe your laundry is ran off electrical. And they do actually have a lot of laundry machines that run off gas as well too. So it just depends on where you go, but we do have both sides of the spectrum, where what we've experienced in these other states is a lot of it's just strictly electrical and there's no natural gas running to the house.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so let's dive into transportation.
Yeah, so transportation, and this one is kind of, I think the reason that this number is so low is because the auto insurance probably isn't as high in Greeley because you're not running into the same traffic you would say in downtown Denver. And so what's that number? It's at 88.3, so it's pretty low, and it's actually one of the lowest transportation costs that we've seen
in a minute.
And it actually surprised me a little bit seeing that, because when it comes to public transit, it really isn't all that existent in Greeley. They do have, you know, a tiny small bus system there, but outside of that, it's got to be more so on the maintenance and then also the insurance of driving that car in and around Greeley, Colorado. Colorado.
Yeah, and Greeley is obviously a little bit smaller than some of the surrounding cities, so I have no idea if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, no public transport really, you know, to and from Denver or to and from Fort Collins, more so just whatever's in town.
And something else I really want to throw in here, because this is something that's new, and I actually just ran into one of my clients that we closed last week, is he purchased a house that was close to the Front Range, you know, more into the Denver metro area. The insurance companies have really taken the Marshall Fire into account when they're quoting out these properties now, and so that's something huge. If you're anywhere near that Marshall Fire, insurance companies are going to see that and like, holy shit, we just had this huge fire that rolled through here, and all these houses had to come and file these claims. Insurance companies are really taking that into consideration, where if you're somewhere like Greeley, the wildfire thing might not be as big of a problem. Tornadoes possibly, but it's also so seldom that you see a tornado that comes and rips through stuff. I think last time we had like a major tornado that really came up in northern Colorado was in Windsor. I think that was like 10 years ago or something right along there.
Minute.
Yeah, so it's like that definitely, I mean, with your housing insurance and also your auto. So something to kind of keep in mind on long lines when we're talking about insurance. I know it's not really transportation, but something I really want to throw in there because we really haven't talked about it, and I've been experiencing it more and more closing some clients here in Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, let me touch on that for a second, because one of our clients recently, you know, really wanted to move into Fort Collins, and the price point was there, and the desirability, and all the little things that they wanted to participate in. However, because of the Marshall Fire, you know, they're like, we don't really want to move into a place that's going to have that high risk. And so Greeley ended up being a place that was really good for them, and they still take advantage of all the things in Fort Collins. So it's a really good thing to bring up that staying on the east side of, you know, I-25, if you are concerned about those fires, or even just right off I-25 on the west side, is totally fine. So don't think that you have to go really, really far away from the mountains necessarily to get away from that and be in a completely safe zone. I mean, we, just to give you an idea, I'm kind of going off topic here, but just bear with me here.
Yep.
You know, we live over in Thornton, and the fire was up in Superior, which was really only like, 15-minute drive from us?
Yeah.
And we were in a very, very, very safe zone. So just know that, yes, we have fires here in Colorado. I'm sure everybody has heard about it, but there are very safe areas, just very, you know, right west of I-25, and then anything east has been really desirable for some of our clients, especially just trying to mitigate any risks. So
I feel like Mother Nature was like challenging me. She's like, oh yeah, no tornadoes, and then we're gonna feel this wind in here. So I don't know what it is. This spring has been super windy in Colorado, and so we've experienced so much wind.
It has.
It's definitely abnormal, but I mean, it's it's been crazy for sure. So, all right, cool. So we're going to dive into our final one, which is miscellaneous. What is miscellaneous? We're talking about like your restaurants if you want to go out and eat, your shopping if you want to go to the boutiques, all those different things as shopping and stuff. So miscellaneous is actually just right about on par with national average. You're looking at like a 100.3. And so like I said, if you're going out to eat and you have a family of 4 similar to us, it's like, it's not too bad. So that's good to know.
depends on if you drink or not.
That's true. The drinks always add in extra.
Like, is this going to be a $50 night, or is this going to be a $75?
Well, and then I don't know if you guys are like us, but I can't eat Mexican food without a damn margarita, all right?
I can't.
Yeah, it's just like,
is it worth the calories without the margarita? No, it's just not.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like you can't have Mexican food. I mean, obviously, unless you don't drink, but nothing goes better with a taco than a freaking margarita. So.
Thank you. I'm not hungry at all right now. Okay, well, listen, guys, we do all these videos for you. These cost of living ones, they're a little dry, but it's really important to understand, you know, what does it look like to live in these cities? What am I going to be paying for? What is the cost? How does it differ from the surrounding cities? We do a lot of these cost of living videos, so if this is something that you're wanting to compare from one to the next, we use the same website every single time for consistency, and we always look up those numbers the same day that we're doing these videos, so they're most up to date for you. So please go check out some of our other cost of living videos if you want to compare some of them. We've done one in Fort Collins. Have we done one in Loveland?
I don't think so. No.
If we haven't, we're going to check for you and we're going to do one. But if there's other cities that you want us to do this in and you're enjoying some of these videos, please let us know. Yeah,
guys. And of course, we're going to put that phone number in right below right there once more time. One more time. And then, like I said, if you're looking at pursuing real estate in Colorado, give us a ring. Chelsea's giving me one answering that call, no one else. So until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye.